Hey, this is Dr. Bob with Carolina Value Pet Care. Thanks for joining us again. Today we're going to be talking about dog dermatology. So we'll get into what the heck is dermatology, and actually, quite simply, it's the study of skin conditions or skin diseases. So today I have with me my lovely assistant Becky. She's going to be rapid firing some questions, so let's get into it.
Dr. Bob, what causes skin problems in dogs?
There are so many different types of skin conditions and skin problems that we see in dogs. Now I've got a list here of just kind of an overview of the more common issues. By no means is this list exhaustive. There's so many more things that we do see in dogs, but I'm actually going to have to read this because there's so many different things, and a lot of these things we seldom see. But just to give you an overview, adverse food reactions, in other words, food allergies, we definitely see a lot of those. Allergies, which are primarily going to be either seasonal allergies or environmental allergies, which, yes, we see a lot of those. Those of you who've been to the clinics and seen either me or Dr. Trina, yeah, one of the primary reasons that you're going to see one of us is because of skin conditions involving allergies. Autoimmune diseases, which again, we don't really so much get into, but certainly those are common issues that, or fairly common issues that can be seen. Congenital or hereditary conditions. This is a unique one called hepatocutaneous syndrome in dogs, which actually involves the liver. Hormonal changes, which yes, we do occasionally see hormonal changes. What we call idiopathic disorders. Now, what the heck are idiopathic disorders? Quite simply, where we don't know exactly what's going on. Something that's completely out of the box. I'll give an example. There's a condition called alopecia X, the letter X, that we see in Pomeranians. That's an idiopathic. We don't know actually what's causing the problem in the first place. Keratinization. The keratin is actually, think of like keratin, which is like in your fingernails, but it can also involve the skin itself. Neoplastic diseases, that's a fancy way of saying cancer. Unfortunately, we do see a lot of cancers in skin cancers in dogs. Parasites, primarily fleas, that would be not the only one, but the primary one. But we also do see two different sort of parasites responsible for mange, either demodectic mange or sarcoptic mange. Lice can be a problem in some situations. So there's another one called Chilidiella, a little unique, but we don't really see too much of that, thank goodness. And then, of course, ticks, although ticks typically don't cause skin problems as they do more blood-related diseases. And the last one they have on the list here is zinc responsive dermatosis. Primarily in Nordic or northern type breeds like Huskies and Samoyeds. Those could be the primary ones we're going to see those conditions in. So that's just, again, I'm not scratching the surface. That's the bulk of what we see, but there's still several other different types of unique skin conditions that we do see in dogs. So there you go. Lots of different things that can involve your dog's skin.
Are dermatology issues painful for my dog?
They can be. A couple of things that can be quite painful. And when I think of painful, certainly the two things I'm always going to give consideration to. One would be a flea allergy, and these dogs are just ripping themselves to ribbons. And unfortunately, it just takes just a flea or two to have them biting, scratching, licking, itching, chewing to the point where they have raw sores on their skin. So these dogs, yeah, they're really in a lot of discomfort. The other thing would be what we call sarcoptic mange. Sarcoptic mange is, again, a tiny little mite, a tiny little insect that actually lives in the side of in the skin of a dog. It is highly contagious from dog to dog, dog to person, people to dogs for that matter, but not so much pain, but extremely itchy. So certainly we could associate some pain associated with the intense itchiness. So those are the key things that I'm always going to think about when it comes to sort of painful skin conditions.
What are some signs and symptoms that my dog may have a skin condition?
The first thing we're going to typically see, because the vast majority of the problems we're going to see are going to be allergies, so biting, scratching, licking, itching, chewing, rubbing. All of those are going to be different ways that allergies can manifest. In general, there's four different types of allergies that we commonly see, and I will give them in the order that we typically see them. The number one is going to be seasonal allergies, and that's from pollens from plants depending on the time of year. Second would be environmental or indoor allergens, and that's going to be primarily from house dust, dust mites, molds, and mildews. Third would be food allergies, and that's going to be a reaction and what we call an adverse reaction to usually a main protein in the diet, such as chicken or beef. And then flea allergies, which we mentioned can be extremely painful just because of the intensity of the itching. So those are going to be the primary types of allergies that we're going to see.
What tests will be performed to diagnose my dog's condition?
Most of our diagnosis actually comes from either one of two ways. One, observing your dog, but second, and equally if not more important, is information that we get from you, the pet parent. The more observant, the more information that you can provide to us, the more information that, or the more we can get to the core of what's actually going on with their pet. So being observant and taking sort of mental note of what's happening, how long has it been going on? You know, like a dog that's itchy, where on their body are they itching? Do you notice any sort of a pattern to the time of year or a pattern to the time of day that you notice they're itching? So as far as the sort of the tests that can be run, again, we're going to go primarily from your observation and also then what we see when we get to the pet. As far as specific tests that we can run, there's actually 2 or 3 different tests that are commonly run. One is called a skin scraping, if we're primarily looking for mange. Another type of test would involve even using like some Scotch tape and using Scotch tape on specific lesions and looking for yeast or bacteria in the skin. And then another commonly used test is going to be checking for what we call ringworm. Ringworm is actually caused by a fungus. It has nothing to do with worms. It is misleading, but ringworm is one of there's many different types of funguses that can actually be responsible for what we call collectively ringworm, but there is a test that we can do to confirm if there is ringworm or not.
What if my dog's skin problems go untreated?
Left untreated, misery, just absolute misery. Unfortunately, especially when it comes to allergies, we see so many dogs come in that are just raw and they have sores and they have horrible skin and their skin is on fire and they've got bacterial infection, yeast infection. They're losing hair, and we see these dogs are just oozing sores, and these dogs are absolutely miserable. So let me be very clear about this. We don't judge if somebody brings their pet in to see us. We know that people, if they have their dog looks horrible, and a lot of people think they're going to be judged by other pet owners. We don't judge. We're there to help your dog. So if your dog is biting, scratching, licking, itching, chewing, and he's got these raw sores, please, by all means, get them, if not to us, get them to a full service veterinarian so we can help them, because we can help. They don't need to be suffering just because of our ego, because we're concerned of how we're going to appear to other pet owners. Don't care. I don't care. I'm there to help. We're here to help your pet, and we hope that you're going to be there to help support your pet and bring them in so we can give them the relief they need.
What is the difference between atopic dermatitis and contact dermatitis?
Yeah, atopic dermatitis, that's going to be more the inhalant type allergies. This is going to be more of the seasonal or environmental allergies that we see. Contact dermatitis is going to be primarily from coming into contact with a particular item, like a bedding material, or very not uncommonly, think of food and water bowls. Now, with food and water bowls, we know that plastic can be a cause for contact allergy, primarily on the skin. Also, stainless steel can be as well. So for those dogs, when we suspect there can be a contact allergy, then we recommend switching to a ceramic food and water bowl. Other contact allergies, don't see it so much, but yes, can dogs get poison ivy? Possibly, yes, they can, but we just don't see that many cases of it. Hair can be fairly protective, and they're usually not going to be as reactive to poison ivy as you and I might be. So that would be actually a contact, is actually contact with a plant, a material that actually cause the irritation of the skin.
What are curable versus incurable skin problems in dogs?
Yeah, so when it comes to I'd like to think of the word manageable or treatable more than curable for a lot of the situations that we see, especially when it comes to allergies, because allergies can be recurring problems for pets just like they can be for people. So it's more about managing the problem than actually curing the problem. Incurable cases, or again, if you want to call that incurable, because they do keep on coming back, I guess that would be one sense of it. We don't really see too much in the way of incurable issues unless there might be a congenital or like a kind of a problem that came with them from birth, or a hereditary problem. Again, something that evolved because of a birth, the appearance that happened at birth that's not going to be changing at all. But those are so rare and few and far between. But again, I like to use the word more manageable than anything else. So anyway, hopefully that'll give you a sort of a little taste of allergies. There's so much more we're going to be able to get into, so I hope that helps, and catch you on to the next video. Thanks.